morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rakto. I am glad to make your acquaintance. Welcome to the very first edition of Stories from My Childhood. Yesterday afternoon, as I returned from work, I noticed a man following me. I was constantly working a 12-hour shift, starting from midnight. By the time my work would end, I would be tired and exhausted with every muscle and bone in my body, crying in pain from overwork and exploitation by the functionaries of the hopeless economy. I had already known about the presence of this mystifying man, who was trailing me for the past 1 week. At first, I presumed him to be a petty thief who was expecting to maybe earn some hard cash from my pocket. But I wasn't worried, for my physical appearance was enough to break the track of hopes that he was riding on. And if it counts, I was getting a brotherly sense from my follower, for him and I were the same. Just the tad difference of him living against the law and I living by the law, at least for now. But even after giving me an unrequited company for almost a week, he showed no signs of backing up, making it clear that money wasn't his desire. In my younger days, I was involved in some shady business of peddling and smuggling, so I liked keeping my profile low, without interacting with people because the government was getting stricter day by day. At least that's what the spokespersons claimed. So I decided not to confront him directly. I was living in the outskirts of the city where the settlement was sparse, partially due to poor hygiene and partially due to poor weather. So I entered my house and shut the door, waited for some time, and then went out to check again. He wasn't there. Guess he left. Somehow this made me sad. Maybe I was just lonely. But my thoughts of sadness and isolation were very quickly taken over by my need to make some more money so that I could feed myself, at least a complete meal. I was again sleeping today with my stomach half full, half empty. Since it was winters, it would get dark by 4 in the evening. I would wake up at 11 and leave for work at midnight. But I was feeling thirsty, so I woke up today around 7 to quench my thirst. That's when I saw a silhouette of a person against my window. Why was someone outside my house? And at this hour, I very cautiously went to the second window and looked out through it. My heart was beating at the pace of a car's motor, and my mind running to the extremes of my imagination. After struggling for a bit, I got a clearer look at the person. It was the same person as this afternoon. It was my stalker. But this time, there was no sense of belonging and brotherhood in my palpitating heart. I was scared, very scared. My legs were shivering, but wouldn't move. It was almost as if the weight of all the sins from my past had finally cleansed and taken over my being. I wanted to run and hide in the arms of my dead mother, but I was a grown man now, I reminded myself. So I took a file and very quietly opened the door. Yet somehow the stalker was alerted and he saw me. He started sprinting towards me. I shrieked, "Stop! Don't come any closer," I yelled. "This is not how I planned this to happen, but at least something is better than nothing," he replied. His deep, husky voice immediately delivered a sense of dominance and command. So without giving it a thought, I started running in the opposite direction. But I underestimated him, since he immediately catched up to me and sprawled over. I was buried under his weight, and no amount of struggling was letting me break through him. "Help! Help!" I cried. That's when he pointed a gun at my forehead, while he conveniently covered my mouth with his other hand. "Stand up or else I'll shoot," he whispered in my ears. And as an obedient child, I stood up. He still hadn't realized that I was hiding a file in the pocket of my pants, so I took a leap of faith, and with all the energy and courage that I could muster, I pushed him with my back. And to my surprise, he fell down on the ground. I immediately took out the file from my pocket and stabbed his palm, pulverizing his ability to hold anything. He started crying in pain, warm blood oozing out on a winter night. But I had to end this for good now, I thought. The neuroticism and the insanity of the uncertainty that I was feeling tonight was just a glimpse of what this person's presence was capable of. I had tasted it and I could not bear this. I thought of calling the law authorities, but then immediately stopped myself, for my past would come tumbling down and crumble my present if I interacted with the police. Then what? I can't run away. I have nowhere to go. I should kill him. Yeah, I should kill him, I concluded. With the trembling hands, I pulled out the file from his palm. I was so preoccupied with my thoughts that I almost couldn't hear his painful howls. I knew I could do this. I had, after all, killed someone before. This fake, new identity, a new life in the suburbs, it already was a part of my cover-up. So I, with the proficiency of a professional, gently pierced through his carotid artery in the neck with the file, my sole companion at this point, and dragged him into the woods close to my house. It has been 8 hours now. I'm slowly covering up my fingerprints and blood trails, and luckily it has been raining since last night as well. How convenient. I'm constantly keeping an eye on the road to check for any visitors to the wood, though it's highly unlikely for someone to visit this part of the city at this time of the year, not even the police patrols. And as for the identity of the stalker, I don't bother. People like us are already insignificant to the society. I'm sure you won't remember the face of any beggar you spot on the street. We can be striked out to a little difference in your lives. I have taken a day off from the work and I'm catching some sleep. Good night.